Hello, friends. Welcome back to Mrs. Hebert's favorite flute pieces. Today, we're going to learn a little bit about a composer who lived a little bit closer to our time right now. He's still not alive anymore. We got to get somebody who's still alive someday on here. Maybe tomorrow. I know exactly who that's going to be. But let's talk about our guy today. His name is Sergei Prokofiev, and I'm going to be reading to you from this book, The Lives of the Musicians. Good times, bad times, and what the neighbors thought. So let's learn about Sergei Prokofiev. There's his picture. What do you notice about that? Look at his clothes, look at his hair. He doesn't have one of those crazy wigs. He's dressed more like people do in more modern times. Kind of, my dad dresses like that with the bow ties. Hey Dad, how you doing? It's pretty cool. Notice there's a wolf in the picture. And there's 3 oranges that he's juggling. Let's learn about Sergei Prokofiev. Full of splinters, Sergei Prokofiev. Born Sontskova, Ukraine, 1891. Died Moscow, Soviet Union, 1953. Now, the Soviet Union is no longer a country. We call that part of the world Russia now. When Prokofiev was born, it was called Russia as well. The Soviet Union was a country. It no longer is, but that part of the world is still there. Russian composer, known for concertos. You heard a concerto yesterday. Operas, symphonies, film music, music for movies. How cool is that? Ballet scores, and his famous work for children, Peter and the Wolf. Sergei Prokofiev heard music even before he was born. His mother, while pregnant, played the piano for hours each day, especially Chopin and Beethoven. As a child, Prokofiev never wanted to be anything other than a composer. After seeing Tchaikovsky's The Sleeping Beauty at age 8, he wrote his first opera, The Giant. When he wasn't composing puppies, that's what he called his early pieces, he played with tin soldiers and dolls, built the dollhouses himself, and went walking on stilts, just like a regular kid. Prokofiev rarely smiled, and he was not popular. He always had to say what he thought. No inner voice, no filter. If someone said, "It's a pleasure to meet you," he might growl back, "On my part, there is no pleasure." When he was a student, he kept a chart of mistakes that other students made in his class. He himself admitted that he was full of splinters. I wonder what that means. What do you think that means? Nor was his music popular at first. Critics got so used to jumping on him that one once published a bad review of a piece that was never performed. How do you even do that? They even picked on his appearance. He looks like the 4th from his love for 3 oranges. His violent piano playing startled audiences. Some people said that the way he attacked the piano made them think of trees being uprooted. He had long, dangly arms and huge hands that were always moving over an invisible keyboard, even when he slept. But Prokofiev never gave up. If people walked out during his concerts, he blamed them, not the music. In America, he spent hours gazing at the skyscrapers around Central Park in New York, furious at the wonderful American orchestras that cared nothing for my music. That's not the case anymore. American orchestras really like to play his music now. Prokofiev married twice. Once to Lina Lubera, a Spanish singer with whom he had 2 sons, and later to Myra Mendelssohn, a Russian writer. He could work 14 hours a day, not stopping except to eat or to tell his children to be quiet. Wow, moms and dads, I wonder if that's how you feel right now. Yeah, samesies. He wrote so much music that he tended to forget his own compositions. He'd hear a piece he liked on the radio and then realize he wrote it. Prokofiev was unpopular even as a neighbor. Yeah, the juicy parts. He once was evicted when his downstairs neighbor accused him of playing the same barbaric chord on the piano 218 times in a row. I think if my neighbors did anything 218 times in a row, I would go crazy too. He always dressed carefully. He wore a jacket and tie to breakfast. Not pajamas. He was fond of a bright red dressing gown. That's what people in Europe call a bathrobe. And he loved perfume. He would walk for miles in any weather to buy cigarettes. That's not good for you. And he'd give the colored cigarette boxes to children on his walks. It's an interesting gift. He had a wolf-like dog named Mendoza and a cat who liked to sleep in his favorite armchair. Think about your pets. My cat Betty always wants to sit in my spot on the sofa. She's got to move. Miss Hebert's sitting down there watching some YouTube at night. Prokofiev might have liked this book. He loved biographies of musicians. Remember what a biography is? It's the story of someone's life. He himself kept a diary, which he wrote in even while in the bathroom, and notebooks containing all his reviews, even the bad ones, and notes on his chess games. Interesting. Next to music, he loved to play chess and was an excellent player. There's even a picture of his chessboard right there in the book. His final opera, A Tale of a Real Man, was banned by Russian leader Joseph Stalin for political reasons and was never produced during Prokofiev's lifetime. When Prokofiev died of a stroke at age 60, his death went unreported for a week because Stalin had died on the same day. Interesting. Here's some musical notes about him. When it was first composed, much of Prokofiev's music was so controversial that conductors of his symphonies sometimes received death threats. Today, he is one of the most frequently performed modern composers. Peter and the Wolf demonstrates the various instruments of the orchestra at the same time as it tells a story. Among the many famous narrators of the story was Prokofiev himself. He called this work a present, not only to the children of Moscow, but also to my own. It's a nice gift. Children around the world have been introduced to classical music by way of Peter ever since. As a child at the piano, Prokofiev left out the black keys when he played because they frightened him. Even in his 20s, he wrote white key music to be played entirely on the white keys. That's my kind of music. I get a little bit twisted with the black keys on the piano. The first 4 notes of his first piano concerto were nicknamed Hit on the Head because they sound so powerful. Well, what I'm going to play for you today on my flute is Prokofiev's Sonata for Flute and Piano. It's also performed on the violin sometimes too. I'm going to play the whole first movement for you, which is titled Moderato. If you remember, moderato means at a moderate speed or tempo. Now, when I play this music, I keep in mind the time period that it was written, and I try to tell a story with it. This was written in 1943. And if you know your history, you know that was during World War II. At this time, Prokofiev lived in Moscow in Russia, and Russia had been invaded by the Nazi army. When I listen to this music, I hear a beautiful countryside at first, and then I hear some trouble stirring. Then I hear soldiers marching in, and at one point, I actually hear bullets flying through the air. After that, it all settles down, and I hear that beautiful countryside again. I'll try to put that on the screen while I'm playing so that you guys can kind of follow along with the story that I'm telling myself in my head. I hope you enjoy Sergei Prokofiev's Sonata for Flute and Piano, Movement 1, Moderato. Well, I hope you enjoyed hearing that entire movement of the Prokofiev Flute Sonata. Now, that's only one of 4 movements. So if you were to hear me play that whole piece in a concert, you would have to sit there and listen to a lot of fluting. Thank goodness I only played 1. Now, tomorrow we're going to listen to a composer who is still alive. I actually got to meet this composer several years ago. It was very exciting. But for today, I'm going to remind you guys to take care of yourselves, take care of your family, and I will see you tomorrow.